Married, with Children wasn't just a sitcom, it was a cultural phenomenon that redefined TV comedy with its outrageous humor, unapologetic characters, and the unforgettable Bundy family. Premiering in 1987, the show ran for 11 seasons and built a loyal fan base that still quotes Al Bundy's one-liners to this day. But what happened to the cast after the cameras stopped rolling? Now, in 2025, we're taking a look back and forward at the stars who brought this iconic show to life. From career shifts and personal transformations to surprising comebacks, here's what the cast of Married, with Children looks like today. Ed O'Neill, who portrayed Al Bundy, the disgruntled shoe salesman trapped in a loveless marriage and the faded memories of his high school football glory, was 41 years old when he began the role that would come to define his career. Though praised for his comedic timing and the iconic bitterness of his character, O'Neill struggled post-Married, with Children to escape Al Bundy's shadow. Typecast and overlooked, he faced years of rejection before finding some redemption in Modern Family, though even that success couldn't undo earlier professional disappointments. His personal life was filled with quiet sorrow. He married dancer Catherine Russo in 1993, but the couple divorced in 2002 after years of tension, largely fueled by O'Neill's depression and obsession with work. They had 2 daughters, Vanessa and Elaine, both of whom remain estranged. O'Neill battled chronic insomnia, weight issues, and in 2011 suffered a minor stroke. A brief reconciliation with his daughters in 2017 ended bitterly. Though financially stable, with an estimated net worth of $8 million, he lives alone in a modest home in Ohio, far from the glitz of Hollywood. Now 78, O'Neill rarely makes public appearances, reportedly struggling with early signs of dementia and deeply haunted by regrets about lost time, broken relationships, and a career that never quite gave him peace. Katie Sagal, who played the flamboyantly lazy Peggy Bundy, known for her towering red hair, tight leggings, and total disinterest in domestic responsibilities, was 33 when she began the role. Though Peggy became a television icon, the role cemented an image that Sagal never fully escaped. Behind her bubbly screen persona was a life marked by pain. In 1981, she married musician Freddie Beckmeyer, but the union dissolved after just 3 years due to his substance abuse issues. Her second marriage, to drummer Jack White, brought 2 children, Sarah and Jackson. But tragedy struck in 1991 when she gave birth to a stillborn daughter, Ruby, plunging her into years of depression. Her career after the show faltered, overshadowed by rumors of erratic behavior and multiple stints in rehab. Though she found some renewed fame in Sons of Anarchy, Sagal's life remained haunted by addiction, failed relationships, and estrangement from her children. Her third marriage to writer Kurt Sutter in 2004 has been rocky, with repeated separations and a rumored divorce quietly filed in 2022. Now 71, she lives semi-retired in Los Angeles, rarely seen in public, and rumored to be dealing with chronic health issues and severe anxiety. Her net worth is estimated at $4 million, much of it tied in property, and she reportedly lives alone with limited contact with the industry or her family. Amanda Bearse, who portrayed the outspoken feminist neighbor Marcy Darcy, was just 29 when she took on the role that both elevated and confined her. Openly gay in a time when few were, Bearse was a pioneer in Hollywood but paid a price for her visibility. After the show, directing became her refuge, yet she was often sidelined from mainstream projects. Her long-term relationship with producer Carrie Schenken ended in 2014 after nearly 2 decades, and the couple's adopted daughter, Fiona, chose to live with Schenken, leading to a painful estrangement that continues to this day. Bearse struggled privately with clinical depression and social isolation, often retreating from the public eye. Her advocacy work, though respected, rarely translated into professional opportunities. Former co-stars distanced themselves over time, and by the 2010s, Bearse was rarely seen in any major production. She currently lives in a small home in Asheville, North Carolina, focusing on local theater and activism. Now 66, she lives modestly with an estimated net worth of just $600,000, supplemented by rare guest directing gigs. Though she has found peace in her activism, Burse remains a figure both admired and largely forgotten, living a life of quiet disappointment far from the Hollywood spotlight she once helped to redefine. Christina Applegate, who brought life to the vapid yet endearing Kelly Bundy, was only 15 when she was thrust into the national spotlight. Though her performance won hearts, it also typecast her for years, reducing a talented actress to roles based on looks rather than ability. Applegate's personal life has been fraught with illness and heartbreak. She married actor Jonathan Skeech in 2001, but they divorced after 4 years. Her second marriage, to musician Martin Lenoble, brought some happiness and one daughter, Sadie Grace, born in 2011. However, in 2008 she was diagnosed with breast cancer and underwent a double mastectomy. Just as she seemed to recover, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2021, a battle that has since robbed her of mobility and independence. Deeply frustrated by the toll on her career and family life, she rarely leaves her home. Once known for her dazzling beauty and charisma, Applegate now lives quietly in a specially adapted home in California. Despite her struggles, she remains close to her daughter and husband, who care for her full-time. At 53, her acting career is effectively over. Her net worth is estimated at $20 million, largely from earlier success, though her medical costs have steadily drained her fortune. Christina's life, once radiant with promise, has been tragically reshaped by relentless health challenges and fading fame. David Faustino, who played the cunning and awkward Bud Bundy, was only 13 when the role made him a household name. But fame came too fast, and the fall was steep. After the series ended, Faustino struggled with substance abuse, spending time in rehab multiple times during the early 2000s. His attempts to revive his career were largely unsuccessful, with only minor roles and voiceover work to his name. He married Andrea Elmer in 2004, but their marriage fell apart by 2006 amid allegations of infidelity and financial woes. They had one daughter, Ava Marie, who now lives with her mother and reportedly rarely sees her father. Faustino lived for a time in a converted garage and took odd jobs, including bartending, to survive. His finances hit rock bottom in 2010 when he filed for bankruptcy, listing assets of just $25,000. Though he launched a web series and occasional podcasts, his dreams of a comeback never materialized. Now 51, he resides in a small rented apartment in Burbank, California, scraping by on residual checks and low-paying gigs. His estimated net worth is under $300,000. Lonely and largely forgotten, Faustino lives with lingering regrets and a fractured family life, symbolizing the painful aftermath of early fame and a career that never found second wind. Ted McGinley, who portrayed Jefferson Darcy in Married, with Children, was 31 years old when he stepped into the role of Marcy's vain, lazy, and opportunistic second husband. Jefferson was known for his charm and narcissism, often relying on Marcy's income while avoiding real responsibility. McGinley, now 66, struggled to escape the shadow of his typecast persona after the series ended. His attempts to revive his acting career were met with limited success, leading to a string of minor roles and cancellations. He married former soap opera actress Claire Whitaker in 1991, and though the couple had 2 children, sons Dylan and Carter, the marriage was plagued by infidelity and periods of separation. They eventually divorced in 2009. McGinley's relationship with his children grew distant over time due to his spiraling depression and reclusive lifestyle. He filed for bankruptcy in 2014 after a failed real estate venture, and currently lives in a modest apartment in Encino, surviving on residuals and voice work. He's been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and has been hospitalized twice due to alcohol-related incidents. Once considered one of TV's most charismatic supporting men, McGinley's net worth has dwindled to an estimated $120,000, and he remains largely out of the public eye. David Garrison, who played Steve Rhodes, Marcy's conservative, uptight first husband, was 35 when married, with children, premiered in 1987. His role as the financially stable, morally conflicted neighbor brought a unique contrast to the Bundy chaos, and his character's eventual departure to pursue a life of freedom mirrored Garrison's own yearning for change. Though a respected stage actor, Garrison struggled to find consistent TV success after leaving the show in 1990. His return to Broadway earned critical acclaim, but never the stability he had hoped for. He married playwright Ellen Darrow in 1992, and the couple had one daughter, Lucia. Their marriage, however, disintegrated after the tragic stillbirth of their second child in 1997. Garrison fell into a long period of depression and estranged himself from many friends. In 2008, he attempted to revive his career through voice acting, but his projects remain niche and obscure. Now 72, he lives alone in a small co-op in upstate New York, relying mostly on pension from SAG-AFTRA and modest royalties. Once vibrant and engaging, Garrison now suffers from early-onset dementia and is cared for by a part-time nurse. His estate is estimated at just under $300,000. Kevin Curran, who voiced Buck and later Lucky, the Bundy family dog, was 31 in 1990 when his sardonic, deadpan delivery gave the pets their memorable personalities. A talented comedy writer, Curran's career flourished behind the scenes, contributing to The Simpsons and other hit shows. Despite his professional achievements, Curran's personal life was filled with turmoil. He had a long, tumultuous relationship with writer Helen Foster, whom he married in 2001. The couple had one son, Ethan, born prematurely in 2003 and later diagnosed with cerebral palsy. The strain of caregiving and work caused significant tension, and Curran's mental health deteriorated. He battled chronic anxiety and insomnia, relying on medication that left him emotionally numb. His marriage ended in 2009, and he became increasingly withdrawn. Diagnosed with cancer in 2011, he refused aggressive treatment, citing exhaustion from life's burdens. He passed away on October 10, 2012, at the age of 53, alone in his Los Angeles home. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at $1.8 million, mostly left to his son's special needs trust. Curran's passing was mourned quietly by industry insiders, but he remained largely unknown to the public for his acting contributions. Tom McClister, who played Ike, one of Al Bundy's dim-witted yet loyal friends, was 45 in 1994 when he took on the recurring role. His portrayal of the greasy, beer-loving, wisecracking regular at the shoe store struck a chord with viewers. However, McClister struggled with typecasting and never landed a major role afterward. A classically trained actor, he found the industry unreceptive to his more serious ambitions. He married his longtime partner, theater director Mark Sullivan, in a private ceremony in 2006, but their relationship soured over conflicting priorities and Tom's worsening health issues. They divorced in 2011. McClister suffered from chronic arthritis, depression, and was later diagnosed with COPD due to decades of smoking. He attempted to find work in regional theater but faced constant rejection and financial instability. Now 75, McClister lives in a nursing facility in Riverside, California, with limited visitation and declining memory. He has no children and little contact with surviving family. Once a humorous fixture on screen, his current life is defined by loneliness and regret. His remaining assets, including residual checks and a small inheritance from his mother, are valued at approximately $90,000. Frank Lloyd, who played Norris, aka Al's feet, a minor and absurd role representing the unseen torment of Al's foot pain, was just 20 in 1987. Though his role was humorous and quirky, it didn't lead to broader recognition. After married, with children, Lloyd pursued acting with little success, mostly landing background parts and uncredited voice work. Disillusioned, he turned to a life of odd jobs, bartending, warehouse work, and briefly attempting stand-up comedy. In 1995, he married high school sweetheart Rachel Kim, with whom he had 3 children, Henry, Alexa, and Mason. Their relationship became strained due to financial troubles and Lloyd's sporadic employment. After Rachel left in 2007, taking the children with her, Lloyd fell into alcoholism and attempted suicide in 2010. He survived, but continued to battle depression and was hospitalized twice more for substance abuse. Now 58, he lives in a subsidized housing unit in Sacramento, relying on government aid and volunteering at a local theater group. Estranged from his children, he hopes one day to reconnect. His current net worth is under $10,000, consisting mostly of disability benefits and small royalties from past work. Ed Hall, who voiced the TV announcer and A.L.'s conscience in Married, with Children, was 33 years old when he brought a satirical and snarky tone to Al Bundy's inner thoughts. Though his role was minor, his distinct voice and comedic timing made a memorable impression. After the series, Hall found limited success in front of the camera and mostly returned to voiceover work, often uncredited. Despite his professionalism, his career stalled, leading to financial instability and long stretches of unemployment. He married publicist Donna Keller in 1994, but the couple divorced in 2002, citing irreconcilable loneliness. They had 1 daughter, Erin Hall, who later distanced herself from the entertainment industry. Hall struggled with depression, exacerbated by the collapse of his marriage and his fading relevance in Hollywood. He filed for bankruptcy in 2007 and briefly lived out of his car. He later found solace in local theater but remained far from the spotlight. Now 65, Hall lives alone in a rent-controlled apartment in Los Angeles. His estimated net worth is around $45,000. A recluse in recent years, he's been known to frequent public libraries and rarely engages with former colleagues or fans. Janet Carroll, who portrayed the no-nonsense Gary, owner of Gary's Shoes, was 57 when she joined Married, with Children in 1994. Her commanding presence gave a refreshing authority over Al Bundy's dismal work life. Off-screen, Carroll led a troubled life filled with professional rejection and personal sorrow. She married jazz pianist Philip Gordon in 1970, and they had 2 sons, Andrew and Louis. Her career peaked in the late 80s but steadily declined post-married, with roles drying up and offers becoming scarce. Her marriage dissolved in 1992 due to Philip's infidelity and substance abuse issues. 1 son later became estranged, and the other suffered from lifelong mental health problems. Janet turned to alcohol and prescription drugs to cope, leading to erratic behavior and multiple stints in rehab. In her later years, she attempted a comeback through regional theater but never regained prominence. She passed away on May 22, 2012, at the age of 71, after a battle with brain cancer. At the time of her death, her estate was estimated to be worth less than $100,000, with most of it consumed by medical bills and legal fees. Steve Susskind, who played the roles of Barney and Stan in Married, with Children, was 45 years old when he took on those quirky, comedic side characters that added humor to Bundy's world. Despite his strong background in both voice and screen acting, Steve's post-show career failed to flourish. Often relegated to background roles or voiceovers in low-budget cartoons, he struggled to maintain financial stability. Susskind married drama teacher Eleanor Fields in 1980. They had 1 son, Daniel, but their marriage fell apart in the early 90s due to Steve's growing gambling addiction and multiple affairs. He filed for divorce in 1993 and had limited contact with his son thereafter. Lonely and isolated, Steve lived in a rented room in Van Nuys, often relying on friends to cover basic living expenses. His final years were marked by severe health issues, including diabetes and congestive heart failure. Tragically, he died in a car accident on January 21, 2005, at the age of 62, after suffering a heart attack behind the wheel. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at under $50,000, with no assets of significant value. he left behind little more than unpaid debts and scattered memories. Rich Scheidner, who portrayed the sleazy and charismatic Luke Ventura, Al Bundy's co-worker and womanizer, in Married, with Children, was 35 when he brought the role to life. His performance highlighted a contrast to Al's perpetual misery, portraying Luke as a carefree player. Despite this breakout opportunity, Scheidner's acting career faltered. After a string of failed sitcom pilots and dwindling stand-up gigs, he fell into depression. Rich married costume designer Lena Vargas in 1991, but their marriage crumbled by 1999 after years of emotional distance. They had 2 children, twins Sarah and Joel, who now live abroad and maintain limited contact with their father. Plagued by creative burnout and alcohol dependency, Scheidner retreated from the spotlight. Though he made brief returns to stand-up comedy and taught writing workshops, the instability of freelance life wore on him. Financially unstable for years, he lived in small apartments and occasionally couch-surfed. Now 73, he survives on a modest pension and sporadic income from residuals. His estimated net worth is around $70,000. Scheidner currently resides in a shared housing unit in Portland, where he lives quietly, seldom acknowledging his Hollywood past. Carol and Susie, who played Franny in a memorable episode of Married, with Children, in 1995, was 44 at the time and brought a vibrant, humorous energy to the screen. Although best known for her later voice work as the unseen Mrs. Wolowitz in The Big Bang Theory, Carol's acting journey was filled with frustration and disappointment. She never married, despite a long-term relationship in the 1980s with fellow actor Ron Lansing, which ended when Lansing left her abruptly for a younger co-star. She had no children and often expressed deep regret about not starting a family. Off-screen, Carol battled chronic anxiety and agoraphobia, which isolated her from the Hollywood social scene. Her career remained largely behind the scenes after the 2000s, and she struggled with insecurity and self-worth issues due to years of typecasting. She passed away from cancer on November 11, 2014, at the age of 62, having kept her illness private until the very end. Her modest estate, estimated around $150,000, was left to a distant cousin and a small animal rescue charity. Despite her tragic personal life, Carol remains fondly remembered by colleagues for her warmth and unforgettable laugh. Which character from Married, with Children is your favorite? How do you feel knowing that some of the cast members have passed away? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for your support.